Well, hello, everybody. I am sitting in for Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas, the wonderful favorite of all of us, and the expert of experts, and a fabulous teacher. In fact, she's having a new class coming in November, so make sure to check it out on Free Hypnosis IHF and learn all about it. So today is about clutter, and I find that fascinating because I am a clutter magnet. I live in the house I grew up in. I have my stuff, my mother's stuff, both my grandmother's stuff, and my great-grandmother's stuff. So for me, it's really difficult to detach because I have an emotional connection with some of these heirlooms that I just can't get rid of, whether it's the china or all the silverware or the glassware or even, furniture pieces. Besides my books and besides my shoes, and if you're a curly girl like me, you got a lot of hair products. So clutter, I need help with clutter. So who on this panel is going to help me? Johnny Warhank, tell me how to help with clutter.
Oh, that's an interesting subject because I'm a clutter bug, I guess. I save everything. And I think the way to get around that, and I'm going to get away from the physical and go to the mental aspect of it, because I think many of us have a clutter in our mind that we need to unclutter in order to see through some of our everyday projects, our everyday problems, our everyday things that we have to deal with. And in order to do that, you have to clear your mind of clutter. And so what is mind clutter? What are some of these things that you would consider to be mind clutter? I consider some of those things such as thoughts of useless things. I mean, think about the last time you did a meditation and you had all these thoughts coming into your mind. You keep getting cluttered up with, oh, I have to go here. I need to do that. I should have done this. I should have. The should have and the would haves and the could haves are all gone. They're clutter. So in order to get rid of that, a gentleman I used to study with, and some of you may remember, Frank Jinko. Frank was an incredible gentleman that his one thing that he always said about mind clutter, especially when you were in hypnosis or in a meditation, was when those monkey thoughts come into your mind, just pay attention to it for just a second. And then I'll think about that later and let it go. But remind yourself to think about it later. And chances are it probably wasn't worth even thinking about then. And it probably isn't going to be worth thinking about in the future. So it's gone. Now, that's easy to say, but that's the basic principle of letting it go. Just thank it for being there. Give it a thought for just a second. I'll think about that later. Right now, I'm doing hypnosis, or right now, I'm focusing on this, or whatever the situation is. So, to me, I think clearing the mind is a way to help maybe clear the physical clutter from our lives also. Just focus on it. Keep that in mind that, well, I'll think about that later and let it go. That's all I really have. Thank you.
That was wonderful because we all have the monkey mind. You're so right. And when you said, I'll think about it later, I kept on thinking about Scarlett O'Hara and Gone with the Wind when she said, oh, I'll think about that tomorrow. You're so right, though. It's really about having laser focus when you want to declutter, isn't it? Absolutely. And in meditation, of course. And that's why hypnosis is so powerful, because planting the suggestion to have razor-like focus can really just help us focus in on what we're feeling or experiencing in the moment. Thank you, John. That was really terrific. Okay, Winifred.
Okay, well, I was just thinking about mind clutter and emptying it all out and remembering that when I was 24, in 1968, a zillion years ago, I packed 2 little suitcases and took off around the world for 2 years, long before rollerboard luggage. I mean, if I could have rolled bigger pieces of luggage, believe me, I would have had them. But I had to be able to carry it myself. And so I had only that which I could carry for 2 years. And I remember feeling how freeing that was, because I was so mobile. And it did occur to me that if I were to get more stuff that I couldn't carry around, I'd be stuck. And that's kind of what clutter does to you. It keeps you stuck, and it wastes a lot of your energy. If you're always looking for things and always moving things from one place to another, you are depleting your energy. And I like to think of, if you're going to deal with clutter, thinking of your whole house is overwhelming. So you have to take it off in tiny little bites. Like, just say, oh, I think I will put on a piece of music that I love, and while it's playing, I'm going to tidy this one drawer. And you get the rhythm of the music, and you get movement going, and you feel energized. And well, my habit is always to empty everything out and then just put back what really resonates with you, and the rest has to just go. And I have learned that when you say, well, this is going, it has to be gone, because if you put it somewhere to get rid of later, I know I tend to go through and say, oh, well, why was I throwing that away? Maybe I'll just take it back. And I have one thing with clothes that I say, you either, if you can take all your clothes out of the closet, then put back the clothes you always wear, that you just feel good in these clothes. And then you look at something and say, well, I'm never going to wear that. That's the pile that gets taken out immediately. And then there are those clothes kind of in the middle that you think, well, I might wear it, especially if I put it with this or that. Those are the clothes that I hang up with the hangers facing towards you instead of facing away from you, so that they're in a separate group, but they're in the closet. And if they're still like that after 6 months or a year, you might re-look at those particular clothes. That's just one little trick that can be useful.
Oh, that's brilliant. Winifred, I have a
It is.
question. What
Yes.
do you do when you have multiple sizes? When you think that, oh, I'm definitely going to get back to that size one day?
Well, if it's a size you want to get back to, it can be a goal. And you can even put an outfit out where you see it every day and you say, that's me, that's for me, and I'm claiming this size. But if it's a size that you don't want to revisit, out with it. Done, gone. And don't keep things that you think, well, they're the right size, but they'll come back into fashion one day, because even if they do come into fashion, you will be a different age. And what looked good on you when it was fashionable the first time is not going to look so great the second time. Trust me on that. So, and when you talk about heirlooms, and certainly about gifts that people give you and they don't resonate with you, but you wouldn't want to hurt somebody's feelings, and they become clutter in your life, so that every time you look at them, you think, oh, I don't know what to do with it, because it's lovely, but it's just not me, that kind of thing. You have to really just be honest with yourself, and maybe those are the things that you can give to charity or find somebody that would love it. But you have to get them out of your environment, because they will take you down a notch every time you see something that doesn't resonate with you. And heirlooms are in the same category. Just because Great Aunt Mary left you her silver tea service, it really doesn't mean that you are then burdened with that for the rest of your life. You can release these things. You can give yourself permission to live in an environment that totally supports who you are now and makes you feel joyful when you come home every day. Now, when you open the door into your house, do you have somewhere you can put down your keys and your handbag and just a nice clear space that welcomes you home and gives you a place to put your things? Or is it a bit of a jumble when you come in? when you come into your house, do you feel welcomed and you know that I live here because everything around me brings me joy? That's what getting rid of clutter does for you. But just little bites and a drawer here and there, and maybe ultimately a room here and there. But don't think of it all as one big problem, because you won't know where to start.
It will be a big, overwhelming problem.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Oh, Winifred, that was so fantastic. I'm going to utilize some of those suggestions. Thank you
Great.
so much.
My pleasure.
Okay. Linda, would
Linda.
you like to go?
Yes, I would. I happen to be an expert in this
Oh, I love it.
Yay!
because I've dealt with clutter before and have learned to release things. And I love what Winifred said about hanging the clothes. I do that with everything, because you think you wear something a lot and you don't. As far as that special piece of clothing that I think that's great for motivation, but if you have 5 or 10 or 20 of them, if you wake up tomorrow and you're a size 3, you're going shopping. You don't want to wear this crap that's in your closet, right? So keep that in mind as well. The other thing is, I just recently moved not too long ago. And so I decluttered like crazy. You see, I have a book situation here. I released 1,000 books to the universe. These are the books that bring me joy. These are the books that I'm like, I must have these books. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind as well, as far as whatever brings you joy. That's what everything should be throughout your entire house. If it doesn't bring you joy, if it's Aunt Mary's tea set and you look at it going, well, it's Aunt Mary's tea, that is not bringing you joy. You need to pawn that off on another relative and go, I'm sure Aunt Mary would want you to have this now, and just let it go. And I'm always in a position of decluttering. I have students coming this weekend, going to pick a couple up in the airport right after this call. And I decided I'm going to have a prize box. And so once someone answers a question or they show up, but I don't care, but I'm going to say, oh, you get a prize tonight, my prize box. So more things going right out the door.
That's brilliant.
The other
I have
thing
a
is,
question for you.
yes,
You said that you released 1,000 books into the universe. I want to know how you did that.
I did that with an amazing garage sale. I do at least one garage sale a year. And if I'm going to be, and I set that time aside, if I'm going to be sitting in my garage for 2 days, I better sell something, which means I better put something out there to sell. So I can just, and in Chicago, I had a following. People would say, oh, your garage sale's coming up. It was a big to-do, because I always had all kinds of things to release. There's also a correlation between the stuff in your life, the stuff in your mind, and the stuff with healing. Just like healing, everything's a layer at a time. You just go through a layer at a time. And one of the things that's really important with whenever you're decluttering, don't ever say, well, I'm glad I'm done with that, because it'll come right back up again. Always tell yourself, that was a big hunk. That's great. The other advice I would have is to get a professional organizer to come in. This is actually, you're paying someone for adult supervision. But that living closet or that whatever that you want to do, it's really hard to talk yourself out of it. I'm paying this person money. We're here. I guess I have to, you really do get it done. So it's double the manpower, and you've got peer pressure, spent money. You got to get rid of things. And I think that's a really great thing to do. And as you do that, I usually have a professional organizer come in once a year. First time I had that happen, it cost me a lot of money. And it took like 3 weeks to get through my whole house, opening every drawer. By the 3rd year, I paid her 4 hours. Kitchen cabinets, everything just organized, and it brings you peace, and that's the important thing. So
oh, I
Yeah.
like that. And also because you learned exactly what to do. By the 3rd year, you were an expert.
well, I was an expert in clutter, that's for sure, but decluttering, absolutely. And I always think when I look at something and I'm wondering, who am I to deprive someone else of this joy?
That's right.
If I'm not loving it, someone else is wishing that they had this, and here I'm hoarding it, and that's just rude. Let me release that so that they can enjoy it. Yeah.
That's right.
So
That's terrific. Thank you
Can I
so
just
much.
say one thing? Can I
Go
just say
for
one
it.
thing? If you want to make a heap more money at your garage sale, Linda, I suggest you change the name to boutique sale. That's what I do when it can be in your garage, but it can be a boutique sale.
well,
And
that's part
if
of it, Winifred, is that I have vignettes. Every table is covered. Every
Oh,
table.
okay.
There's music. It looks like a boutique.
Yay.
And
Well,
there's
therefore-
vignettes and everything else. So it looks like an amazing retail boutique, but I think I might change the name because it
Well,
looks like a boutique.
Well, I found I've made a lot more money if I'm having a boutique sale than if I'm having a garage sale. And it always includes some beverages and cookies. So there
If
you go.
if you have all of your tables covered and you have different heights and it's presented nicely, people don't want to talk you down. I mean, I'm practically giving
right.
things away anyway, but they're like, oh, well, this is really fancy. And they just pay because all your stuff seems like it's worth more than perhaps.
Oh, it's
what
all
they-
about the presentation. You're absolutely right. You're giving me
Yes.
such great ideas. I love it. I love it.
That was great, Winifred. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for all your ideas. Thank you, Linda.
Okay, Lisa, what can you tell us about decluttering?
Get the mic off here. I actually had to declutter. I moved into a tiny house for a very short period of time, but I did do it. And I had a yard sale, but the energy of the yard sale, a massive yard sale. And the people that came, and maybe it was, I don't know, I just put out this love into the universe in a sense. So these are my loved things, you know, that I can't fit into this tiny house and that need to move on to someone else who loves them. And I got so many people at this yard sale just putting out this love energy that were just picking up things going, oh my gosh. And I'm a preschool teacher and my kids would love, I could use these baskets and, you know, to put stuff in for them. And people would come and they'd love to know about, wow, all this photography stuff and what I could do with it. And I'd tell them about, well, this is what I did with it. So the energy that I had flowing with this yard sale to let all this stuff go just seemed to somehow attract people that were just like, oh, I love this when they came to the yard sale. And that was so much fun because every piece went to someone who could really use it and loved it. So that's another aspect of letting things go because I didn't love it anymore, but I had these old connections that I could give with the piece, old stories or, you know, the loving energy. It was so much fun. And then I've recently moved into a much bigger house. Moving in was so easy in a sense because I had all these drawers in the kitchen and so much. I haven't even got them all filled up yet. I have this huge closet and I just have the things that I had whittled down from the past. So if you think of it that way, stepping into a new life in a sense is kind of what you do when you let these things go. You've opened space in your life to bring in the joy of other things, other people, other energy, other life in a sense.
So true.
And it's freeing. It feels good. You can breathe again. So
it's liberating.
It's liberating. And if you have Aunt Mary's china or grandma's china, here's one thing I did. I did sell it. And for things like that, you want to get an appraiser to look at the old antique silver or the china. But I would keep one piece. I kept one small platter of grandma's china, and that's the pattern. And I remember it. I love it. And that's all I need of the whole thing, and sold the rest. And my mother's silver, I kept one serving spoon of the silver to remember, because it's childhood stuff for me too.
Yeah.
And that was all I needed. And the rest is gone, and to someone who loves it.
You
I
know,
love it.
Lisa, I can see someone right now that they're serving dessert going, how am I short a cake plate?
Yeah, maybe.
That's beautiful though. That's
It
wonderful.
really, well, letting go with love is so precious, and it's so true with everything in our lives. Whether it's the mind clutter and being loving to ourselves and loving ourselves enough to let go. I just love that. Thank
And
you.
allowing
much.
more to come in, more new energy.
That's right. That's right. Okay, Grant, what do you have to say about clutter?
Wonderful, thank you. And you know what? I actually love that expression that you used there. Is loving yourself. Loving yourself. Oh, sorry, I froze for a second. Deborah, I was just saying I love what you said there about loving yourself enough to let go. That's a key point. Yeah, clutter. I mean, what a great expression. Because of course, clutter in the home is symbolic of what's going on in your mind. Certain countries, Japan, for etc., they will certainly always talk about having a tidy home because it reflects what's happening in your mind. When it comes to New Year's Eve, with many Japanese people, they won't necessarily be out celebrating. They'll be at home cleaning. They'll be cleaning the home.
Wow.
Make space of the end of the old year. Everything you've done will be pushed to one side. It'll be put out and cleaned, ready to accept good new energy in for the new year. This is the way they'll look at it. So when we may be out partying, drinking and dancing, they may be cleaning. So, but cleaning to make space for the new year. Very interesting thought on it. But okay, this is what we're supposed to do. I mean, there's been some brilliant tips from everybody here. This is what we're supposed to do. But how about when we know what we're supposed to do, we just don't really do it.
Yeah, that's it. And lead the horse to water.
Exactly, right? Because we all know we should maybe exercise a bit more and perhaps eat a little bit less. We kind of know that. Do we always do it? This is the thing. So why? So I would like people to encourage them to explore what's best for them. As you said, Deborah, love yourself enough to let go. Start to think of your future happiness. Because I feel a lot of the time that people are actually caught in the here and now. We're always taught to live in the present. I find that a bit of a half-finished statement, because at times where we do need to live in the past, that's why it is nice to have those little things to look back on. This is why we hold on to them. But also it's important to look at the future, because that, after all, that's where we're going. But the reality is we're here now. So it isn't a question of looking in the past, looking to the future, or being in the present. It's a combination of all three. That really gives you a sustainable way of living. Learning the memories from the past, keeping a few little things present, using the wonderful tips there that Lisa shared with us about keeping one piece just to remember, so you can take it from there and go all the way down to that. That is a great tip. But then again, how do we allow ourselves to do that? I think it's because we don't always value ourselves enough to think of what we could be. I.e., are we really living to our maximum potential? So what I would say is to take people through a process, so we won't have time to do it here right now.
We certainly do. Take us through this process. I think everyone on some level has an issue with clutter. You're
Everybody
ready to
has an
go,
issue.
so let's go for it.
Well, I'm just going to say that people should dare to dream. And then what you can do, you can put yourself into a state of self-hypnosis. But first, you must know what you want, i.e. decluttered home. Secondly, why? Why do you want a decluttered home? Why do you want it? Because I work on the theory that the mind the human mind, the subconscious mind, doesn't do a damn thing until it sees the logic of doing it. In the same way that if I said to you, hey, just go out your house now and just walk across the street and come back, you say, why? Makes no sense. I'm not doing it. If I said, I don't know, it would give you eternal beauty, eternal health, or there's 10 million bucks in a bag over there with your name on it, you'd be gone. You're going
10 million? I gotta go.
Okay, I can offer it if you like. But you get my point. If you can see a logic to doing it, you just might do it. So that's the first thing, know why. Not because someone said, hey, you should tidy up. I don't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything at all. What's the purpose? So if you understand the reasons for tidying up, now we had some brilliant reasons here. So if you use those, and then you think of your future self. So I urge people to look a bit more in the future rather than the past and the present. Look into the future, where you're going. After all, when you drive a car, you don't always look in the rear view mirror, do you? You look out to where you're going, because if you don't, you can have a nasty accident. So you always want to look where you're going. So there's a reason to look to the future. Look to the future, and do you really need this stuff? Is it something you can love enough to love the memories and give to somebody else? Is it something where you can keep one little piece? Brilliant tip there. And then what's going to be that final push to push you over the edge? Because you know, some people can do this easily, but some of us may struggle with that. So how can you become one of the people you want to be, as opposed to one of the people you might find yourself in this present moment? So I would say you would close your eyes and you would go to a place, this special place in your mind where only you can go. This place would be down a corridor, the most interesting corridor you've ever seen in your life. As you walk down the corridor, you see doors on the left, you see doors on the right. And each of these doors will have a label, a name for different parts of your life. But then suddenly you see one door that seems to stand out more than the rest. Perhaps the most enticing door, the most interesting door, the door that allows you to make all positive changes. That door has got the best shaped door, the best material, and the most fascinating door handle. You know the door handle I mean. Yeah, that door handle. And as you walk up to it with anticipation, as your hand reaches out and goes to clasp that door handle, you notice the sign. And the sign says control room. It is, after all, the control room to your mind. And as you open that door, you walk inside. Notice as you do the smell that that room has, which is different to the others. And notice as you close the door and look around, it is designed exactly the way that you wanted your control room to be. Now, I'm not sure quite now whether that has knobs and levers and dials, whether it has a deck, rather like a graphic deck, or whether it's just full of computer screens, touch screens. I'm not too sure, but you're there and you know what it has. And notice as you look around and you sit in that very, very comfortable chair, it gives you a complete overview of all of your life, the various aspects. And of course, as this is called the control room, it allows you and you only to make the changes that you wish to make. And as you look at it, there will be a knobs, dials, levers, graphic screens. I'm not too sure, but as you look at the ones you've got in your room, there will be one regarding the future, how you want to live, your environment. Notice that knob, dial, lever, graphic screen, and notice the name that it has attached to it. It might be declutter, it might be home, it might be environment. I'm not too sure. But notice what your one is called. And if it has a name that you don't really like, I mean, after all, it's your room. You can go ahead and just change the name so that it's just right for you. And then once you do, familiarize yourself with those controls and play around with them a little bit. Have some fun. When you look at the declutter and see the person you will become as a result of decluttering. Get to feel the benefits of being that new person. See how things will change. Notice how it will allow you to do certain things in the future as a result of decluttering that you can't do now. Understand that this is just a matter of choice. Choice being the operative word. You can choose to declutter if you wish to do so. Now, whether that means declutter as you just kind of like just move one cushion and reduce 6 cushions to 5, or whether that means a major overhaul with boxes, cleaning, scrubbing and getting rid of things, I'm not too sure, because this is, after all, up to you how much you want to do. If you just want to make a slight change just to get some momentum, you can make a slight change. And you can go back later and make another change. Or if you just want to roll your arms and sleeves up or get friends in to help you and do it for a whole week, then okay, go ahead. Now, how you do it is on that knob dial levers that you have in front of you. So why don't you go ahead now and just give yourself permission to play around with that knob, that dial, that lever, and just turn it up a bit and start to see yourself cleaning up, tidying up those parts of your life. And as you do, start to see the changes that that produces. Go ahead and crank that dial up and clean up some more. Now, if this is causing any feelings of anxiety at any point, then you just adjust the dial down just a little bit, just like when you turn up a radio, you put it on and sometimes it's just a little bit too loud, so you just reduce the volume a little bit until it feels just right for you. Go ahead now and have a play around with that, knowing that you can set it to exactly the amount you want. As I said, do it all in one go. Or if that's a bit too much, you know what? You can do it in bite-sized chunks, whatever feels best for you. But as you do, notice not how you feel so much at the time, but how it makes you feel in the future. To become the better version of yourself, the cleaner, more tidier, more smoothly operating version of yourself. Because after all, you are the engine. When we take a car to the garage, they clean it up, they tidy it up, they get rid of the impurities, they change the oil and get rid of it. And you put clean new oil in that allows it to move smoother, faster, with less restrictions, less stickiness. It makes space for the future as it flows out and lets the new flow in. So allow the great new energy to flow in at a rate that's just right for you. And allow that energy to flow in at a rate that's just right for you. So have fun, play around with this, because it is, after all, your decluttering control. And when you're ready, just notice some final changes that you can make just to make it perfect for now. Being safe in the knowledge that you can always go back and do a little bit more another day. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, say thank you to yourself for becoming a better version of yourself. And as you feel great, just turn around and walk out of that control room and put your hand on the door handle to leave. But before you do, just look over your shoulder and look at those controls and just see how far you come already by making these changes, knowing that when you leave this room, automatically things will start changing in your mind, which will take you to drive you forward to doing those things from tomorrow onwards and becoming a better version of yourself. And the bonus of it is that you feel so great about having done it, because life is about growth and it is about change. And today you've made a change in your life. So go ahead and open that door with a smile on your face. As you close the door, I hear that satisfying click. As you look around and turn back around that corridor and walk back to where you are now, knowing that you decluttered your mind and will begin to declutter your home to make space for a great new future. And when you're ready, and only when you're ready, come back to your new, clearer space. Okay. Welcome back.
Oh
That
my
was wonderful.
gosh.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. I can't begin to tell you what I saw, what I felt. It was so amazing. I'm so happy you did that.
Yes,
wow,
thank you.
wow,
Brittany.
wow. It was great, right?
I want to
Yeah,
say,
we're like,
Grant,
"Woo!"
yes, thank you. And I decluttered my connection with my bookkeeping and my finances.
There's so
You.
much, you know, and
Oh,
my
this is
God,
great.
it's great. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're
Oh, I
welcome.
don't know.
Fabulous.
It was
That was wonderful.
absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Grant.
Talk to you later. Okay.
The only thing I wanted to add was I have a fascination with bugs too, Linda. I just love, they're like little babies to me. And it was,
Yes.
most of my books are metaphysical, hypnosis, you know, anything esoteric, some historical novels. So I invited my metaphysical friends over and I had huge piles out on my massage table. And I said, and I had bags and boxes for each one of them. I said, go to town, take what you absolutely love.
Mhm.
And I got rid of so many to people who really cherished and loved them. And they were
Right.
so excited the way we were when we just ended this hypnosis session. And they were so thankful. It was just so filled with gratitude. They couldn't wait to get their hands on reading some of them, you know, that night. And I felt such a release. I mean, I really felt, and I felt really good because they went to a home to friends that would love them. And then the remaining ones that I had left, I will donate to my local library. Now, I still have my favorites the way you do, but it reminded me of what Lisa was speaking about, letting them go with love. And that's what I did to loved ones.
And think of the ripples of that, Deb, all the people that you touched, and then all the people they will touch because they picked up that beautiful book and went, oh, they picked up, especially because it came from you. They read it, they were inspired, they put that into practice in the world around them.
Yeah.
And it's just these beautiful ripples that go. So that's quite lovely.
Oh, like the film Pay It Forward, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, everybody, thank you so much. I'm just so happy that we did this tonight. I know that I personally have benefited greatly, and I'm so excited.
I have too.
Oh, yeah.
There's just one more thing I want to say, though.
Yes.
It's very important, especially for clutter bugs, is that even if you go into a closet and you do 6 inches of space, stay with that space. Don't clear off the shelf and go, oh, now I can put stuff on there. You know, just have a space and be with it until you're used to having space.
Yeah.
And feel safe with the space.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That
we
is
talk
a good
about
point.
safe space, but feel safe with the space, and then you won't feel compelled to put something else on there.
Yes.
So,
Good
And
point.
look at the body-mind connection as well, psychoimmunology, both what Lisa and John and Grant touched on as well. And I think maybe Winifred did too, with
Just the
when we're
energy.
so cluttered
The
in our
energy
physical
of it.
surroundings. That's right. It definitely will affect our mind, and we'll feel so overwhelmed. You know, whether it's our desk space or just in our homes, our closets, trying to find things, etc. And then when we create clear space, it does free our mind
Yes.
to be able to be more creative.
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
thank you, everyone. This was fun.
This was
This is
fun. I loved it.
gorgeous.
Don't we just all want to go get a drawer right now? Just organize
Right.
it.
I'm going right to my
That's funny.
closet. I'm going to hang up some stuff.
Get on those books. Now they don't look so daunting.
Right.
I'm in control.
Do you know the first room I'm going to do is the control room?
Ah,
No.
yes. There you
Ah.
go. Right.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to use that with clients. I love that. Grant.
That's, yes, that is
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. I loved today. It was so nourishing.
Yes. Thank you.
And again, I just want to remind those who are watching, if you're interested in taking that class coming up in November with Shelley Stockwell Nicholas, just remember you can reach her on the Facebook or calling her with free hypnosis IHF. Thanks again. Oh, as Shelley would say, put your hand on your
Yes.
shoulder, the other hand on the other shoulder, give yourself a big hug, say, yes, I can do this.
Yes.
Yes,
can do it.
I am doing this.
I see my
And
future.
on that note, have a lovely, lovely evening. Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
folks.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.